man who is hosting the ESPN broadcast tonight and Friday night, and the man who is hosting the ABC broadcast all week long, Mike Greenberg and Rece Davis here on the Rich Eisen Show. Good to see you guys.
Long time
here, man.
This is it. It was funny that we were talking like, who's going to sit where? And I'm like, it should kind of be like the old Sports Center days, if I remember. Whoever had tenure got to sit where they got to choose the first seat.
See, that's what I told you. It was
right.
that. It was not who arrived first.
Yeah, we were told whoever arrived in the room first.
That's
and we're
not
like,
true.
Right. It was whoever arrived at the, so Rece came a year before me.
Right.
I got there in 96, Rece 95.
I got there in 96. I think I beat you by a couple of months, I think. If I'm not mistaken.
So it would be Rece, then you, then me. I was September.
No, I'm kidding.
We all do, right? Like at any time, I'm much better at the Q than the A sometimes. You know, like because we're all like control freaks. We all want the steering wheel. You know what I mean? Like that's what we do for a living. But yeah, I mean You thought it was whoever got to the studio?
No, we were told that when we walked in.
Oh, is that?
But see, I never, unlike you guys, I never had a regular rotation. So, like, if I was doing the show with you, I sat in the other chair. If I were doing the show with Dan, I sat in the other chair.
That's the way I did.
I just always sat in the other chair.
That's the way I did SportsCenter for the first several years.
Yeah.
I was doing ESPN News. I was sitting in the other chair from Dave Feldman and Ian Page and a number of other people. And so no one really cared where we sat, to be completely honest with you.
I do. That's right. I think I was the last person hired before ESPN News, and I went straight to free parking. You know what I mean?
I came in we were like a pledge class. They hired like 11 of us within the span, and we all started within a span of like 2 or 3 months.
For ESPN News?
For ESPN News. And we all became good friends because we were all working. We were all candid, very aware that there was not a monstrous audience or enormous concern for what we were doing. We played golf all day. We worked at night. We were all young. None of us were married or anything like that. So it was a nice group. It was actually sort of a nice time to start.
That was it. At the dulcet tones of Mike Greenberg for the radio audience that just joined us, hosting the ESPN coverage of the NFL Draft tonight and Friday, and Rece Davis hosting tonight through Saturday on ABC with the Saturday's broadcast also simulcast on ESPN. I'm just so psyched. Look at us. We basically grew up together. You know what I'm saying? Like I was there for 7 years, and you guys are. How many years have you been there now?
Just rolled past my 29th anniversary.
You're coming up on your 30th year.
Yeah, next April, about a year from now.
It feels like just yesterday when I got there, and you invited me over to your house for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Because I was just by myself up there in Connecticut. You were so cool just to start with. And the rest of the crew was kind of like side-eyeing me for a little bit. Dan was hazing me right from the get-go. And then you and I started pretty much at the same time.
Same year, 96. So yeah, and no one invited me to Thanksgiving. I
would have invited you.
Well, no, but I spent Thanksgiving completely by myself.
Are you serious?
No, probably not. I don't really remember. I don't remember what I did for Thanksgiving anymore.
Greeny's just trying to make me feel bad.
This is one of the most anticipated drafts I can recall in quite some time. I mean, because all the quarterbacks sitting at the top, some teams that aren't usually sitting at the top. Mike, would you agree with that?
The thing. Mel said that it is the most intriguing draft that he has ever been a part of in his 46 years of doing this. And just listening to your conversation with Daniel Jeremiah, the best thing about the draft is not what actually happens. It's all the things that could.
Yes.
Right? Once it actually happens, then it was what it was. It probably most of the shocking twists and turns that we're anticipating are not going to wind up happening tonight. But the simple fact that they might is what makes it all so exciting. If any one of the things that he's forecasting happen, then it will be one of the best nights that we've had.
And you've been seeing a lot of these guys up close pretty much with your tenure on College Game Day as well, so Caleb coming out of college with a can't-miss label, you agree with that association, Rece?
I don't know that there's any such thing, Rich, as can't miss, because there have been so many guys that have that you would think that wouldn't.
Yes.
But I think he's a really good bet not to miss. He's got everything you want. He's got a personality that some people find a little unusual, yet coaches, teammates kind of gravitate to him. I mean, look at his first year at Oklahoma. It was clear, no disrespect intended to Spencer Rattler, but people wanted him to play. He drew people to him. And I think that's really important for for that position, particularly if you're going to go 1 overall. And it seems that the Bears did a wise thing of making sure that some of the players, some of their leaders, got to know Caleb a little bit. I think he's going to be sensational. That said, Greeny's tired of hearing me say it. I love Drake Maye. I'm done with the Drake Maye blasphemy. Whoever gets the Drake Maye pick wins the draft.
Wow. Okay. I need Rece Davis showing up with the
Patriots fan, so I'm very excited.
Well, Tim Hasselbeck completely agrees, by the way. Tim Hasselbeck, whose opinion I value, says he is the best prospect in this draft. But I would make 2 points. The first is far more young quarterbacks are ruined than developed in the NFL. So who
that
winds up
sounds
succeeding?
Like personal experience.
But it's true. Well, look, it's not just the Jets. Do we think Sam Darnold's destiny was to be a journeyman backup somewhere when people were sucking for Sam, all that time that he was at USC? Do we think that Justin Fields wasn't good enough, that Mitch Trubisky wasn't good enough? These guys get put into positions where they have almost no chance to succeed, and then we call them busts. So that's number one. Where are these guys going to wind up? That's going to determine how good they are. The second thing, and I heard you and Daniel talking about this, and there's a part of me that disagrees. When we say the Patriots need to come out of this with a quarterback, excuse me. Here's what I would say. Let's say you really want to get married. You should not marry the first person who seems like they might be willing to marry you. If that person doesn't seem like the right person to marry for whatever reason, you're probably better off working on yourself for a little while and trying to find someone else. Right. Which is to say, if you draft Drake Maye, I'm just using him as an example, or J.J. McCarthy or whomever, because come hell or high water, we need to come out of this weekend with a quarterback, but they aren't someone that you fully believe in. They aren't someone that you think is the right person to be there for you for the next 10 years. Then on some level, you may be making a bigger mistake than not coming out of it in the first place, because you'll be trying to make that work longer than it would take you to find someone else.
And I totally understand that you shouldn't just get married for the sake of getting married, but the Patriots over the last couple of years have been in the basement screaming for the meatloaf.
Okay, fair.
And so I think it is time to crash this wedding. And certainly the owner has come out and basically said, I'm going to let the guys who are making decisions, I like to delegate, says Robert Kraft, but I sure would like to see a young quarterback in our quarterback room.
He had a young quarterback in his quarterback room who looked pretty good as a rookie and led that team to the playoffs. And then Bill Belichick, for reasons known only to him, decided to replace his offensive coordinator, who departed to become a head coach somewhere else, with 2 guys who never had coached offense and definitively didn't know how to. And I'm not suggesting that Mac Jones' destiny was to be a great player, but maybe it was, certainly to be better than he was. He was a guy whose floor, what we say about him, maybe not that high a ceiling, but a pretty high floor. And all of a sudden, he looks frustrated and confused, and all the things we thought that a guy who graduated in 2 years with a 4.0 GPA would never look. And he was, because he's looking to his coaches, and they didn't have answers. So that's the point I'm making. They screwed that up. They screwed up Mac Jones way worse than Mac Jones screwed up. Again, I'm not suggesting he would have been Joe Montana, but so now you bring in someone else. You better be sure you are ready to give that guy answers when he needs them, especially if it's Drake Maye.
You also need everyone aligned, because, not to keep this on Alabama quarterbacks, the Dolphins came very close to ruining Tua, because it appeared they weren't all on the same page. I mean, they're pulling him out in the middle of drives and putting Jacoby Brissett into run. I mean, Jacoby Brissett's a fine player. He's not a runner, and they were doing all kinds of things that undermined confidence, and it was as if they didn't believe. Whoever you wind up with, for instance, tonight, if there are people in the Commanders camp who believe they should take Drake Maye or J.J. McCarthy, and they take Jaden Daniels, once that pick's made, everybody better get on board and push in the same direction and not do things that are going to undermine their success, because, to Mike's point, there are precious few guys out there talented enough to transcend everything around them. Top of my head, Elway, Luck, Cam, maybe Mike Vick. I don't know. That can elevate everything else around them coming out of college, and you don't have to be in perfect alignment. I'm not sure you have anybody in that draft that is that caliber. Maybe Caleb, but you better get on the same page once you make your pick.
Why do you like Drake Maye so much?
He's a way better athlete. Reminds me a lot of Luck, a little bit of Herbert. way better athlete than he gets credit for. Natural leader, can make every throw. I get the stuff that he gets a little lazy and will miss a layup every now and then because of the footwork. Character is off the charts. Took all of his NIL money, made sure everybody else on the team got paid. And if you want to talk about the gravitas that he has, I was at a Duke-Carolina basketball game, and the most popular guy in the building was Drake Maye. And to have that on that campus is pretty impressive. People love him there. And I think he's everything you look for, but you still have to support him.
I think he's a Patriot by the end of the night. I really do.
I do too.
I think it's definitely Caleb, Daniels, May, right?
And I think you have 3 win-win-win, because I also like Jaden Daniels. Like all 3 of them.
I would love it if May goes too, because if that happens, our Knights, the 3 of us,
or the Patriots trade back, which I don't think is out of the question.
And if the Giants trade up, I mean, do we just name the 3 things that if we, as hosts of the draft, could ask for just one of them? You know, like just
that's
one
the team that should get Drake Maye. Drake Maye, I think his ceiling is Josh Allen. The Giants. Brian Daboll was the doctor who turned Josh Allen into Frankenstein, right? Or he developed him. He turned him from this. He molded this incredible lump of clay into the best it could possibly be. That's the same exact thing that Josh Allen needs, and that's the guy who did it. That Drake Maye needs. People also will tell you that Drake Maye would be best served sitting a year. Well, the Giants have that answer sitting right there. Play Daniel Jones and see what happens. The worst thing, or no, the best thing that could happen is Jones plays great. That's a wonderful problem to have. Jones plays great, and now what are you going to do with the kid you just drafted? A team that can let Drake Maye sit for at least a little while, I think, is the best scenario for him. I would love to see the Giants find a way to get him.
All right, so in a couple minutes left, I just finally hit on something here. Here we go. So May goes second. The Patriots trade out, or the Giants trade up. Maybe those 2 things might be connected. Let's just say one of those 3 things can happen, because we want something to go off the rails tonight as hosts. Which one would you choose? Which one would you choose, Reese?
Patriots trading back.
Which one would you choose?
I think McCarthy going third, which I don't think is out of the McCarthy breaking up the if 1, 2, and 3 don't wind up being the 1, 2, and 3 we're expecting, that would be fascinating, because I think there will be a mad rush to go up and get Drake Maye that might not exist for McCarthy.
Yeah, I kind of want the Giants to trade up. That one would kind of go nuts, because I think what you just mentioned would also potentially happen, because the Giants made a move and somebody would panic over the 4th quarterback that's still sitting there. I would take that. Who's with you tonight?
Mel Kiper. And so,
the real Mel, not the Mad Mel. Right?
No, the actual Mel. No, I actually
adore
think
Mad Mel, by the way.
We are approaching his 50th draft, by the way.
Yes,
we were talking about in our meeting this morning. We've got to get all of the Mel impersonators together, I think, for his half-century draft.
Okay.
But Mel, Booger, McFarland, Louis Riddick, and Adam Schefter and Molly McGrath will be doing the interviews on the stage.
And who's with you?
I've got Kirk, Desmond, Nick Saban, Field Yates, and Laura Rutledge.
Okay.
And on game day, Pat will be with us on game day, and then he's doing his own thing on Plus.
What's it like walking around this town with Desmond?
He's a legend, man. He is.
The C's part,
an absolute legend.
The C's part.
Yes, they do.
Well, guys, this has been a blast. Thanks for coming on.
It's a pleasure to see you. Thank you.
What a great setup.
Oh, we're
great
just
staff.
love it. The Roku folks, Roku channel, and our sponsors and everything going on here. It's great. So thank you.
You make me look bad, because I didn't do my show today, and I'm doing tonight. Now here,
I guess I should mention I'll be here for picks 1.
They said, "Do you want Eisen? Do you want to go do Eisen show?" I said, "Why is Eisen doing his show on the day of the draft?" I don't understand. You're making me look very bad.
At least you got up. Good to see you guys.
Good to see you. Thanks, fellas.
Look who's to your left right there. You got Brian Kelly coming up next. There he is, the head coach of LSU.
I thought it was a bank.
It is. By the way, we're all going to recreate the scene from Heat in about 5 minutes. If you guys want to stick around, really, it'll break things up. Before I let you go, we only have a minute for this, and this could fill an entire hour. Put it up on the screen. You want to translate this one for me, Mike Greenberg?
Thank you, Zach Wilson.
You want to translate it for me?
No, I don't. I mean, what is that thing? Captions wrong only. Where's that they say?
Right.
Wrong answers only.
Listen, I don't want to. I'm not denigrating him. It's just like not everything needs to be mentioned on Twitter. You know what I mean? Like, let him go to Denver and go crush it. Like, honestly, like, thank you.
Woody Johnson said recently, I forget where he was, but he said, if we can't find a trade for him, we may just keep him. And he said it in a threatening tone.
Like he put the lotion in the basket.
Who was he trying?
Come on.
Was he trying to put the rest of the league on notice? I couldn't understand what he was trying to accomplish with that.
Go to Denver, go crush it. Like, good luck. That would be good luck better than thank you.
Yeah.
Like, thank you, and good night. That's what I thought. I'm like, not everything needs to, the social media department doesn't have to chime in on everything, but Eddie, good to see you guys.
Likewise.
Say hi to everybody back at the shop on ABC and ESPN. We will see you tonight. Brian Kelly's coming up next. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.